Hello, my name is Ethan Wells, and this is my video I'm going to be making about sobriety, something that has become a lot more important in my life lately, and I've realized its importance for everything. So yeah, sobriety has never been very important in my life. It's kind of a new thing, I guess. Of course I was sober when I was a kid, but I haven't been sober for a long time, and I haven't wanted to be in a very long time. So this whole feeling and everything is new. Anyways, I started smoking weed in 8th grade, and that's kind of what started me down the path of self-destruction. I started smoking a lot, all the time, pretty much every weekend. At first, it was every weekend, but then it started being just whenever I could, which was like all the time because I hung out with people that smoked all the time. But that quickly led me to get bored of it, and a lot of the time, I never really liked smoking weed that much. It always made me really anxious and feel just so bad. I just didn't like it a lot of the time, but I just had this need to alter myself, so I did. It's weird to me that I'd smoked so much weed when I just didn't like it I still, like, even up to, like, even when I stopped, I didn't like it. It took, like, the whole time that I smoked for those 4 years until now, I didn't like it most of the time. Anyways, I moved from weed to pills, of course, or not from weed to pills, but I drank and stuff too. But I didn't like alcohol very much because it made me feel hungover and shitty, and I don't know. I just listened to a lot of rap and stuff like that, and it kind of influenced me to do those things because I heard so many people talk about these drugs and like what they did to you and how they made you feel, and I heard them. It was rap had a really big influence on me in that regard because I would hear people rap about like taking pills like Percocet and all that kind of shit, and that's kind of what made me want to do that stuff. I mean, the first pill I ever took was Adderall, but I very shortly after after doing that, I took like hydrocodone. I tried codeine. I tried oxycodone. Pretty much, that's the only ones that I ever did. I didn't get any farther than that. I lived in a town called Paradise in California, and it burned down. And that was the day before it burned down. I was on a bunch of pills, and the day it burned down, I was on a bunch of pills too. And then for like weeks after that, I was on pills. But I shortly after it burned down, we were down in living in a mansion that my stepmom's mom owned. She was letting us stay there because our house burned down. But I crashed my dad's car, or not my dad's, my stepmom's car. I crashed her car on a bunch of drugs, and they decided to send me to rehab, and I went there for a 28-day stay. It's this place called Muirwood, and I can't remember where it was at, to be honest. It was somewhere, I don't know. It's out in the middle of California. It was a really beautiful place, and I would recommend if you ever needed to send someone anywhere for that kind of stuff. Muirwood is a good place. I'm pretty sure they have an adult facility, but they have a teen rehab that when I went there, and I met a lot of cool people and learned a lot about what drugs are and what addiction is and all that kind of stuff and what it does to you. So I would recommend it for anyone that needs it, but it's pretty expensive, which sucks. I wish it was like free, because the ones that are like the ones that are cheaper, they're not as good, and not everyone there. I mean, not everyone at the place I wanted to be at was trying to be sober, but the majority of everyone was trying to get better, and that's not how it is at a lot of rehabs. Yeah, but the staff were all addicts or ex-addicts. Most of them were addicts before. There was a few people that weren't, but most of them had. Even those people had family that were addicts, so you had a lot of people to talk to about and to relate to. It was an experience for sure. I really enjoyed it, actually. It was kind of like a vacation, but I shouldn't have took it that way. I didn't really take it how you're supposed to, and I wasn't really trying to be sober. Because right when I got out, like a week later, I started doing a bunch of whippets, bunch of nitrous oxide. That's when I first tried it, because I learned about it there. But yeah, I didn't care about going there. I didn't give a shit. I didn't try to be sober, but I didn't want to. And it didn't even take me going to rehab to learn that. I mean, this happened recently. I got into a relationship that really changed my way of thinking. And I knew from what I was doing that, like, I was just going to break barriers with my family. And it wasn't just the drugs. It was the things I was doing and the people I was hanging out with and all that kind of stuff. Like, the reason why I was doing all that stuff, too, is because I wasn't sober. Because I wasn't thinking correctly. And I'm glad that I decided to change, because it's helped me a lot. I'm still, I haven't been very happy. I never was really that happy. That's kind of why I started doing drugs in the first place, was because I was sad. But now that I'm sober, I'm a lot more sad than I was before, which didn't really make sense to me. But I think it's because I was suppressing those emotions so much. And I wasn't feeling those things, and now that I feel them, every time I feel something bad, I just want to get high. I think about it so much, but I know that it's just not good for me. I mean, I relapse all the time. Like, not even that many days ago, I did Xanax. I did Xanax and I smoked. But before I did that, I had many weeks of time that it sucks when I relapse. I keep having this mentality that, like, that doing it in moderation is okay. But it doesn't really work for me like that most of the time. Because once I do it once, I want to do it again and again and again. And that makes me, like, if I do it once, I'm going to be more likely to do it again. So I just need to stay away from that stuff. It's really hard, though, because a lot of the people that I enjoy spending time with, like a lot of my friends and, like, people I've known for years, their idea of having a good time always involves some sort of recreational drug. A lot of them is just weed, but also a lot of them it's not just weed. A lot of them it's pills, a lot of them, and other stuff like mushrooms and acid and all that kind of stuff, which I don't have anything against those drugs. I really don't have anything against any drugs. I think you can do any drug in moderation and be okay. Really, I do, but it doesn't really work for me like that. I wish it did. I wish I could just do something every once in a while and just not want to do it until it came again, but it's just like I want to do it all the time. But yeah, I think that mushrooms and acid and that kind of stuff, like psychedelics, are like one of the best types of drugs you could do, because you can't really get addicted to those. And I've heard of people doing it, like, it's not impossible. Nothing's really impossible. But, mushrooms healed me a lot. I've done them a lot, and a lot of the time that I did them, I didn't take them the way you're supposed to with the mindset of healing, and like I didn't have the healing mindset. I wasn't thinking about the betterment of my future and stuff. I was just, trying to get fucked up. But the way you're supposed to take them is just take them and have like the mindset of improving, and like you want to focus on the things that you realize about yourself and about the world, and really focus, like put your energy into those things. I didn't do that a lot of the times, but there's been a few times that I've learned some stuff that I still think about, that I think about every day. So I think they're a good tool. And I think every drug could be a tool, but they're not used as tools, and our society doesn't, the way that it's portrayed in society is not as a tool. It's as a way of feeling better, like self-medication. That's what our society like shows. That's what drugs are like in our world. And it's just crazy how much people do. I've met some people that are real addicts and just don't even know it. And it's just crazy that I was the same way, but I don't know. I don't really have anything else to say. I think the point of this video for me was to kind of document this for myself, but I also want people to know that sobriety should be important to you. And if it isn't, then you should fix that, because that's just not good. It's not healthy. Sobriety, you should want to be sober, and you should want to enjoy the time that you're not high, because if you don't, then you start only enjoying when you're high and not enjoying when you're not. So yeah, that's it.